Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel CSN IT Tutorials by Vrushali. In our previous sessions, we have solved all the CPU scheduling algorithm with some simple easy tricks. I have attached a complete OS playlist link in below description box. Now, in today's session, we will discuss our next scheduling algorithm, that is priority scheduling. So let's see how to solve the example of priority scheduling. Previously, we have already discussed all these subjects with super easy explanation with practical demonstration. I have attached link of all this playlist in below description box. Please share my channel with your friends and subscribe it. That will be beneficial for your university examination as well as interview purpose. So, in today's session, we will discuss all these points. At the end, we will discuss some important question bank. Now, the first topic is types of scheduling algorithm. As we discussed earlier, there are different types of scheduling algorithm. Like first we have discussed all example of FCFS scheduling, then SJF, then SRTF, which is also called as SJF preemptive algorithm. And after that we have discussed about round robin scheduling algorithm. So these all examples will be important for your university examination purpose, and this kind of question also asked in GATE exam, so prepare accordingly. So the remaining one is a priority scheduling. So today we will discuss priority scheduling in detail. The first question is, what exactly priority scheduling algorithm? The name suggests that priority means operating system assign priority to each and every process for the execution. Let's take an example. Suppose there is a process 1. They has the priority 1, process 2 has the priority 2, and process 3 they has the priority 3. So this 1, 2 and 3. This numerical value consider as a priority. While solving example, always consider that lowest numerical value has the highest priority. For example, process 1, they has the priority 1. So CPU will be execute process 1 first, and after that they will execute process 2 and process 3 according to their priority. Sometimes what happen, a two particular process they has the same priority. For example, process 2 they has the priority 2 and process 3 also they has the same priority 2. So at that time, FCFS scheduling algorithm have used. CPU check that which process arrived first in particular queue. So as per their arrival timing, CPU execute a particular process. You can implement priority scheduling algorithm two ways. Either it is preemptive approach or non-preemptive approach. What exactly preemptive scheduling? See, when CPU is executing a process 1 and at the same time some particular higher priority process will come. So CPU change their execution power from process 1 to process 2. Means interruption is there. This is called as preemptive scheduling. On the another side, in non-preemptive approach, suppose CPU is executing process 1 and some higher priority process will come. So still CPU executing process 1, they complete execution of process 1, and after that only they will execute process 2. Means one by one they execute a particular process. This is called as non-preemptive approach. In today's session, we will discuss example of priority scheduling with non-preemptive approach. Now, this kind of concept generally used in different domain in real life. For example, to handling real-time system, interactive system, different multimedia applications, or in some medical and emergency system. This priority scheduling algorithm have used. Before solving example, you must know about some basic terminologies. We have already discussed all these terminologies in detail in previous session. So let's take a quick revision of it. See, this diagram indicates the process state transition. In new state your process have created, and after creating it goes to the ready state. In ready state your process will be waiting for the CPU allocation. So arrival time means when your process arrive in particular queue for the execution. This is called as arrival time. Burst time means actual time required for the execution of particular process. Completion time. After execution, your process goes to the terminated state, which is called as completion time of particular process. Turnaround time. It means total time from arrival to completion. And the formula is completion time minus arrival time. Next one is a waiting time. Due to some interruption reason, process goes to the waiting state. This is called as waiting time, and that was calculated by turnaround time minus burst time. Next one is response time. When CPU is allocated to the particular process first time, which is called as response time. And the last one is a Gantt chart. Gantt chart is the visualization chart. They display each and every details of your process in diagrammatical manner. So let's solve the example. So this kind of example will ask in your university examination. The first step is you need to analyze which data is given and which data you need to find out. See here in this particular table. First, process numbers are given. There are total 4 processes P1, P2, P3 and P4. Next, arrival time is given. P1 is arrive at 0, P2 is arrive at 4, P3 is arrive at 4 and P4 is arrive at 8. Let's assume that 4 means 4 o'clock, 8 means 8 o'clock in this way. It is easy to understand. Next, burst time is given. Means P1 process required 6 unit of time for execution. P2 process required 10 unit of time. P3 process required 4 unit of time. And P4 process again required 3 unit of time for the execution. Again, this is the example of priority scheduling. So priority is also given. P1 process, their priority is 2. P2 process has priority 1. P3 has 2 and P4 process has again same priority 1. So this data is given. You need to find out completion time, turnaround time, waiting time, then average turnaround time and average waiting time. This kind of question will ask for 8 to 9 marks in your exam. So let's see how to solve it. The first step is you need to draw the Gantt chart. Gantt chart is the easiest way to find all these values, right? So Gantt chart always start with the 0. So first check that at 0 which process has come in particular queue. See here at 0 which process has come? P1, right? So CPU executed P1 process first by default, right? So CPU executed P1 process here. Now what is the burst time? Burst time of P1 is 6. So from 0 to 6 unit CPU executing a particular process. Clear? Now check that. At 6 o'clock or between 0 to 6 which process has come? See, at 6 o'clock there is no any other process and between 0 to 6 there are total 2 process P2 and P3, right? Means there are total 2 process P2 and P3. Now check the priority of particular process. P2 has the priority 1 and P3 has the priority 2. So which one has the highest priority? P2, that is 1, right? So CPU will execute P2 process first. So after P1, CPU is executing P2 process. What is the burst time of P2? 10 unit. So 10 plus 6 equal to 16. Clear? Now check next. P1 P2 process has executed, right? Now between 0 to 16 which process has come? See, P1 P2 have already executed, P3 and P4 is there. P3 is arrival at 4 and P4 is arrive at 8. Means again there are total 2 process. Now check the priority. P3 process has the priority 2 and P4 process has the priority 1. Which one has the highest priority? P4 process, right? So after P2, CPU is executing P4 process. So what is their burst time? 3. 16 plus 3 equal to 19. Clear? So after P4, there is only one process is remaining, that is P3. So at the end, CPU is executing P3 process. What is their burst time? 4 unit. So 19 plus 4 equal to 23. So in this way, as per the priority, CPU is executing a particular process. Sometimes what happen, like P2 and P4 both having the same priority 1 and 1, right? So at that time you need to check the arrival time. Like P2 arrival time is 4 and P4 arrival time is 8. So as per their arrival time, the particular process which come first in queue, that will be executed by the CPU. Clear? Now to find out the value of all this part, right? First check the completion time. See, P1 completion time is 6, P2 completion time is 16. Next, P3 completion time is 23 and P4 completion time is 19. Clear? Now next, to find out the turnaround time, that is arrival time to completion time. And the formula is completion time minus arrival time. See, P1 process completion time is 6, arrival time is 0. So 6 minus 0, 6. Next, completion time is 16 and arrival time is 4. So 16 minus 4 equal to 12. P3 process completion time is 23, arrival time is 4. Means their turnaround time is 19. Again P4 process completion time is 19, arrival time is 8. So 19 minus 8 equal to 11. Next, to find out the waiting time. The formula is turnaround time minus burst time. See, turnaround time is 6, burst time is 6. So 6 minus 6 equal to 0. Means their waiting time is 0. Next, process 2. Turnaround time 12, burst time 10. So 12 minus 10 equal to 2. Next, P3 process 19 minus burst time 4. So 19 minus 4, 15. And again 11 minus 8. So P4 process, their waiting time is 8. Clear? In this way you need to find out all the values. The next one is average turnaround time, and the formula is total turnaround time divided by total process. So just make a addition of all this thing, like 6 plus 12 plus 19 plus 11, that is 48, and total number of process are present 4. So 48 divided by 4 equal to 12. This is the average turnaround time. Next one is average waiting time, and the formula is total waiting time divided by total process. So just calculate this thing, 2 plus 15 plus 8, that is 25, divided by 4, and the answer is 6.25. So in this way you can solve this particular example in your exam. Now, as per the previous year question paper, they have asked this same question 2 to 3 times previously. See, consider the following set of process. Length of CPU burst time is given, right? Then you need to draw the Gantt chart for showing the execution of particular process, and you need to apply two algorithm: priority with non-preemptive approach, then SJF algorithm with preemptive approach. You need to find out average waiting time and average turnaround time, and this data is given. So this question generally asked for 8 marks. So prepare this same question for your examination purpose. So this is all about. Thank you and stay tuned for my next video.